Leandro Trossard was Arsenal's Champions League savior once again as the Gunners fought back to salvage a 2-2 draw with Bayern Munich in the first leg of their quarterfinal at the Emirates. Reuniting 7 years from Bayern's third and most recent 5-1 thrashing, the hosts were rewarded for their quick start with a Bukayo Saka strike. But a couple of uncharacteristic defensive mistakes allowed the visitors to turn the tide through Serge Gnabry and Harry Kane's penalty. However, scintillating substitutes Gabriel Jesus and Trossard combined for the latter to fire home a second-half leveler, but the home crowd were left highly bewildered at full time, as a strong penalty shout for Manuel Neuer's apparent foul on Saka was waved away seconds before the whistle blew. Boasting a near full-strength squad barring the absence of Jurrien Timber, Arsenal welcomed Gabriel Martinelli and Jakub Kiwior back into their first 11, while the Bayern side, led by Kane, welcomed back Manuel Neuer and Leroy Sane from injuries. At the end of the 97th minute, Arsenal felt robbed of a clear penalty. Let's go around the punditry world to hear what the experts are saying about Arsenal's performance against the Bavarians.
Through the goals in this one and get you through the best of the action. 1-0 by Bukayo Saka. Started so well for Arsenal.
Yes, it did. And the way Arsenal was putting pressure, that's exactly how you want to play. Odegaard passed the ball to Bukayo Saka, putting Davis under pressure. Ben White to Bukayo Saka. I think Dyer should do way better than what he did there. But then, obviously, when you see that, you know it's going to be a goal. All you need to do, as you can see, is not offside. All you need to do when that ball comes back from Ben White to Bukayo Saka is use the body of Eric Dyer and make sure you go around and just place it, because the goalkeeper cannot see it. And then it's a goal. Well done, son.
And then was it equaliser at this point, Thierry? I mean, the ex-gunner, I don't understand why he's celebrating, but a bit of mix-up there between goalkeeper and Gabriel Raya, and it was just a bit sloppy.
The pass maker.
The pass was extraordinary, and then it's all about the composure. And yes, you'll see better, I think, on this angle, Jamie. There's a mix-up. But the pass, you talked about it at half-time.
Yeah, I mean,
just brilliant.
Yeah, the goalkeeper doesn't help Gabriel. He just panics him, and then it's just a knock-on effect there with the poor pass. But that pass, the weight of the pass is sensational, and a great wide attacking run across the defender, 1-1, and that is just European football. And then before you know it, he's cooking. Before you know it, it's 2-1.
Look at this.
I mean, the arrogance, the confidence, the ability to do that. But Leroy Sané on this side, he was too much for Kiwior, who had to go off at half-time. He was out of his depth in that first half. But this run is absolutely out of this way. Look at it. They're all like they're drunk. They just keep falling over. They've all been on the pop. Look, they miss him, and then Saliba catches him. And then it's Harry Kane to give the Emirates a little bit of pain, Thierry. Ooh.
Yeah, I've seen that too many times, unfortunately. Yeah, and once again he scores at the Emirates.
Yeah, and that just silenced the crowd.
Another Big Meek's favourite? I'm racking him up now.
You're the one asking them the question.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Wait, who else have you got?
You should learn Croatian.
Who else has said that you're their favourite?
Enrique.
Luis Enrique. Someone told you.
You need the celebration from Bellingham, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, Bellingham, he's mugged me off though, hasn't he?
Yeah.
We need to ask someone else.
Foden? Jack's your mate, isn't he?
No, but we need something a bit different, don't we? We need a bit different. I see them boys. They're my boys, aren't they? You know.
My boys.
Should we wrap up the Arsenal game, because we interrupted the Arsenal coverage to get over there to Madrid again? So we were at the Leandro Trossard, who'd come on as a sub, scores the equaliser for Arsenal. Thierry.
Yes, he did, and just the position of Zinchenko, also the way he changed the game, coming inside, having a body more inside. But this is what Gabriel Jesus does ever so well. He does it all the time, and usually he loses his way when he starts to chop and chop and chop. But this time he was well aware of the position of Leandro Trossard on the. You will see here, chop, and then he looks and he can see, whoop. What a finish from Leandro Trossard. He's lethal in the box.
I mean, that is brilliant from Jesus. And if you remember in the group stage, he did something similar. Remember he had that night, was it away in Seville?
Yes, Seville.
Where he did something really special on the halfway line. He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he
did it against Man United also. On the, I mean, it was a counter. He chops well, and then it's what he does after the chop most of the time. He gets confused. but Leandro Trossard was there.
A couple of moments later in the game that we want to look at still as well. Kingsley Coman hitting the post. Let's take a look at this one.
Yeah, we were talking about it. I mean, Partey should have done way better with that header. He didn't. I think it's Musiala on the side beating Ben White, and it's almost the one where you want to miss it. You want to miss-hit it. Why? I tell you why. Because if you miss-hit it, and by the way, I think it takes it to the shin. So, but if you kind of miss that contact, it goes dying at the second post, and it would have been a goal, but it could have been one. But obviously, the post was there.
And then the other moment we wanted to look at was in injury time, Bukayo Saka searching for a penalty for Arsenal. Let's take a look at this one.
I was saying it was going to be given when I seen Saka come through. A mix up there at the back, I think. Alphonso Davies, but is he leaving his leg hanging there to be taken by the goalkeeper? Is it a good decision?
I actually think it's a really good decision because, like you said, dying moments of the game at the Emirates, you've got to make a big decision, and I think he was calm about it. It obviously went to VAR. You see the referee go to VAR anyway, but you could see him saying basically they've checked it, and I just think it was the right decision. So although we have seen them give him.
So you think he cheated?
No. I just think he does what all clever forward players do. That's all. Leave my Saka alone.
As always, whenever there's a refereeing discussion to be had here, we bring her in. Christina! What's going on? Let's talk about this one because I think we pretty much all agree, yes, it wasn't a penalty. How difficult is it for referees in those incidences where players are manipulating essentially to try and win the penalty?
Very difficult, but what really helps a referee be able to get this correct decision on the field is all about angles. So the Swedish referee here, having that position aim, being able to see exactly where the keeper is planted, that he didn't extend himself, and being able to initiate and see Saka's top of the right boot going closer to, the bottom of his knee and initiating that contact and pulling it. You can only get that view if you're in the position and the referee is actually looking at it from this angle itself. If the referee had been 2 steps, even 3 steps to the left, could easily be basically understanding and seeing and thinking that the keeper had extended his right leg into the path of Saka, who was running on. And instead, this actually is a very good no decision. The referee's body language was very confident that he had nothing on it. And when you replay it, both in slow motion as well as at 50% and 100%, it confirms that on decision was correct. But it is a difficult decision, especially with only seconds left in injury time.
Christina, where are you? I'm normally used to seeing the books, the magazines, the TV screens, the memorabilia.
She's in her open plan office and she doesn't want anyone to see the people behind her. Is that right?
That is correct. Everyone's still working out there, working hard at a 5:30. So I snuck into one of the conference rooms.
All right. Well, we appreciate you. Good to see you as always.
You as well. And for the record, Kate's my favorite. Just saying. For the record, Kate's
Get off the screen.
Christina's a regular on the show, so that counts extra. Thank you, Christina. Much love. Love you very much.
Yeah, would love to stay and chat. Toodaloo.
Jesse Marsh, Pep Guardiola. The list goes on.
Oh.
Who's called you their favourite?
Has anyone called you the favourite?
No. I'll get there.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got a couple of player interviews that we can bring you. So first of all, let's head across London, go to Anita Jones, who spoke to Bayern's Harry Kane.
Harry, what was it like playing back here at the Emirates, a place where you've caused a lot of heartache for Arsenal fans?
Yeah, it was strange, if I'm honest. I think, of course, I didn't expect to be back here so quick into my Munich career. But look, it was a good occasion. It was a tough game. We knew Arsenal obviously have a lot of quality, especially here in their home. So we had to dig deep at times. But overall, it's been a good experience to come back. A good game, a tough game, and now all to play for next week in Munich.
You talk about a good experience. You like scoring against Arsenal. It's now 15 goals in 20 appearances. What is it about scoring against this side? I
don't know. I get quite a lot of penalties against Arsenal, especially here at the Emirates. So they kind of hand the opportunities to me. But I enjoy these games. Obviously for Tottenham, they were the big games, the London derby. So I spent many games here. I've had some good results, but not some bad results as well. So I enjoy big games, and obviously this is a quarter-final. It doesn't matter if it's Arsenal or whoever. It was a big game, and I'm glad I helped the team today.
Well, Anita has also managed to speak to the Arsenal manager, Mikel Arteta, so let's listen into that one as well.
Mikel, on the basis of the performance today and the opposition, are you happy with the draw?
Well, I wasn't happy if the game would have ended up, especially in the first moments when we had total dominance of the match. We scored the first goal, and we had the moment with Ben White when he's in front of Neuer to put it to 2-0, and then the tide changes completely. Then, yeah, without giving away anything, we give them 2 goals against a team that in open spaces they have unbelievable quality to punish you. They have done, and after that, I think that we have to be really focused not to give the game away. And I think we've done it, and the subs made a huge impact again to keep us on the tie, and I full believe that we can go there and beat them.
All right, I guess let's get your thoughts on anything particular that stands out from the Arteta interview, or kind of looking ahead to that game moving forward in the second leg now. 2-2 obviously scoring this one, go to Munich now with that.
First I will start with Harry Kane and how he played tonight. There's something I always say to whether as an assistant or as a coach, what a striker should do away from home. That's exactly what Harry Kane does to the T, and he did it tonight once again. As long as Arsenal couldn't stop him keeping the ball or having a free kick, then you cannot sustain that pressure that you're putting in half of the opponent. As soon as they manage to stop him keeping the ball or having a free kick and staying there, and Mikel Arteta talked about obviously the Serbs, what he's talking about with the Serbs is Zinchenko coming from a left-back position, coming inside to have an extra man to be able to hold the ball a bit better, and they did in the second half. And obviously we can talk about Gabriel Jesus and Leandro Trossard scoring that goal. But, you know, it was, and I can understand in the coach point of view, at the end of the game, you're trying to talk to your team by saying, look, we gave them 2 goals. So what he's trying to do right now after the game is talking to his team to say, look, they're a great team, but we gave them 2 goals. And I understand what he's saying. Gabriel makes a mistake. You have Declan Rice that shouldn't be stepping out. He did step out. You can't let Leroy Sané running inside your team like that. But what he's trying to do is trying to tell his team, look, we were not too far. We should have done this, we should have done that. And we all know that the game was more of a 50, even a 55 to 45 on the other side.
I think we should remember as well, this is the first year they're in the Champions League, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was a great learning curve, the last round. Porto, a team you'd expect them to beat, but they found it tough. And tonight, again, was a real experience for them. You know, we've got experience of playing in Europe. You're 1-0 up, you think everything's fine, and before you know it, you're getting beat 2-1. And you can't quite work out what's happened. And it felt like that watching Arsenal. It wasn't the same flow, it wasn't the same team that you see in the Premier League, because Europe's different and it does things to, you know, the stadium just freezes as well when it goes 2-1. And they ground it out, they got themselves back into it. The fact there's no away goal, you know, that rule's gone, so it helps them. So, you know, it's going to Munich. It's going to be tough for them, and it'll be another big experience. But if they could come through that would be absolutely massive for them, not just this season in terms of going forward, because Arsenal are going to be a team who I think will continually be in the Champions League for the next sort of 4 or 5 years.
You wanted to say something?
No, Jamie basically mentioned it with Thierry, yeah, but just like you talked about the badge, didn't you? And sometimes, you know, coming into a quarter-final for so long, I just thought Arsenal, okay, they give away sloppy goals, but they dealt with it well. They could have froze, and they didn't freeze, so fair play to them for that.
OK, so the other game, remember, was the 3-3 draw between Real Madrid and Manchester City. And Guillaume Balaguer has managed to speak to Pep Guardiola, Manchester City manager. So let's listen into that interview. Welcome back. As promised, time for a tactical breakdown at the big screen. Thierry, what have you got for us? What we're going to do?
The goal of Nagby and what Declan Rice should have done at that particular moment, because you're the police officer and a mistake happened, you have to rectify it. And more often than not, he does it, but he didn't do it tonight. As you can see, we talked about the goalkeeper coming, we talked about the back pass, but if you pause here, look at the distance between your 2 centre-backs. And I know at that particular moment, it doesn't look like that you're going to be in trouble. At that moment, you cannot make, and you're going to see it when we're going to play it, the 1, 2, 3 step he's going to make. Leroy Sané wasn't born yesterday. You make those 3 steps. Goretzka also sees it. He runs in behind. Why? Because look at the gap in between Saliba and Gabriel. And you have a man running. And he's aware that there's a man is running. If he stays here and see the guys all in front of him, nothing happens. But as you know, guys, when you lose the ball, you tend to want to go because he thought it was going to be a short pass. But he is clever, and on that one you were not. Play it.
Could Saliba anticipate it a little bit more?
You're dead.
Dead.
You can't. He's aware of Gnabry coming. You don't see it down.
I mean, how highly do you rate the pass, Thierry?
It's all of a pass. You can't let that come. Early. Yeah, you can't. Micah, it's Leroy Sané on the ball, not a guy at the bottom of the Premier League on the ball. It's not the same ball game.
You get punished at this
Premier
level.
League. You 1-2 step, guy on the ball saw it. You go there, guy on the ball saw it. You go 2 inside, Gnabry saw it. That's on you. You shouldn't lose that ball. I'm just saying, Declan Rice at that particular moment, just don't go back 3. You see Gnabry, you see Leroy Sané, and you see Goretzka coming.
Excellent mentality from Harry Kane, managing to block out some of the songs and the familiar. And it took one out for a minute, and I was like, wow, that really is loud, isn't it? Look, there is absolutely no way that you can disregard what an incredible player is. Whoever he plays for, he's just got this tunnel vision and this winner's mentality. And even if they don't win the league, there is something very special about that player individually, Rio.
Yeah, listen, it is what it says on a tin with him. You get goals, you can create chances. What you see today, he's sliding people in with great passes, awareness of space and teammates, his timing is perfect. But it just hasn't gone to plan in terms of domestically for him. So they're not going to win anything domestically. This is their last chance. But what I would say, I don't know if it's him, his presence, that's the most nervous I've seen or uncomfortable I've seen the Arsenal back to, because of the way he plays, his experience.
He rattled them, didn't he?
Yeah, we saw them both rattle Haaland. But I think Martin made a great point when we was in the tunnel. He's inexperienced compared to Harry Kane. Harry Kane knows how to use his body, knows how to get in different holes and gaps on the pitch. Different player that brings different problems for those two, and they found him difficult today.
It's only half time though, isn't it? And they're very quick learners, this Arsenal group. Young as they are in Europe, I expect them to bounce back.
It is advantage Bayern, it's advantage Bayern now, though, for me. You?
Yeah, maybe, but
slightly.
But I think it was important Arsenal didn't lose tonight.
Yeah.
They've gathered something from the match, and they've got a lot to look forward to still. I think it's to keep this momentum. They hadn't conceded a goal for a month, and I think that knocked them back a little bit, and then they conceded 2 in quick succession.
I thought it was important for Arsenal today. You're an Arsenal fan, but it's important for Arsenal today that they didn't lose, because the momentum they can still carry into the Premier League from this game,
of course.
The way it finished with a late goal is huge for this club.
Hey, look, they fought back from 2-1 down. They'll feel that they deserved a penalty. Let's go over some of the incidents that we saw. There was a lot at the end of the game. It really sprung into life in the last 5 minutes. And perhaps also there could have been a big chance, well, there was a big chance, for Kingsley Coman, who came off the bench and hit the post. Yeah, well, substitutes came on, they could have impacted for both teams. This was such a chance here. In wide areas, this is where Bayern were dangerous. Musiala here, you see, cuts the ball back. Great run across the front post from Kingsley Coman. Young strikers, forward players need to understand. Getting across that front post takes defenders out, and that ball comes to you. You're normally going to get onto it first.
I think, like Gabriel, there's just got to open his body out a little bit so he can see the movement. It's happened to him a couple of times. It's just if I'm being really pedantic. But, thankfully that didn't go in. It was in the 90th minute. Well, let me show you the Saka penalty shout again, because I know that you two think this was absolutely a penalty. I'll represent the other side. Ali McCoy was saying, look, actually, if you watch his right leg, kind of delays this a little bit, his right leg, and then does he lean into it? Does he lift his leg into it? However... I get what you're saying. I can see that side of the argument, but this one's the one here. Neuer's leg, he delays his leg from planting it and leaves it out. That split second, which means for me it has to be a penalty. He's deliberately doing that. It's movement towards the ball, and I think if you had 10 top European referees here tonight, 9 of them would have given it, and this referee's the only one who hasn't given it. I find it quite alarming that he hasn't given that penalty. But look, Neuer, you see that movement towards the ball there, Laura? That is enough to give that penalty for me. What's slightly unclear about this situation is that it looks like the referee checks his ears, points to his ears and says no penalty, which we assume means we've spoken to VAR, no penalty. In commentary, you are informed of those decisions and whether or not VAR are having a look, and there wasn't a message that came through to say they are having a look, so it's kind of unclear whether or not VAR did get involved in that or not. It could have a huge effect on this. I don't think that was clear. I thought they had to send him to look at it. His actual position when he's there watching it, he's crouched down, he's looking direct at it, and then they don't even send him to go and have a look at it. It's such a big decision in a game like this, so much riding on it. They look at everything, don't they? I think they probably thought, oh, we'll go with the ref, if they weren't really conclusive on it. But that's a really big hit. We're slowing that down. He's going at high speed there.
Send him and have a look at it. He has to go and have a look at that. As a ref, he surely wants to go and have a look at it himself anyway.
OK, well, look, let's get some reaction from the manager. Mikel Arteta is speaking with Jules.
Mikel, a dramatic end to what was a breathless game. What's your initial thoughts on the result and your team's performance?
I think the game had different moments. I think we started pretty well. I think we were dominant. We didn't concede anything, and we had the feeling that we're coming more of a threat. We scored a really good goal. And after that is the moment of the game when Ben is in front of Neuer, and we put the 2-0 down. That would have been a very different match. Straight after that, the ball is open, we want to manage the ball, and we give it to the opponent, and they score. And that created some uncertainty, and the second goal as well is unusual for us to concede. But this is the Champions League. You make a mistake, you get punished. A lot of the simple things with the ball, especially today, I think we haven't done it with the standards that we normally do, and that have allowed them to have spaces to run, and they are very dangerous. But even with the 2-1, I think the team tried to find the rhythm. He was composed. He didn't start to rush things, and the changes make a big impact to score the second goal.
Well, we saw what you thought in the final stages of the game of Bukayo Saka's penalty shout. What did the officials say to you?
Nothing. I didn't say anything. They said that they checked it, and they decided it wasn't a penalty.
When you talk about the mistakes that were made in the first half that led to both of Bayern Munich's goals, does that just show you that you need to be near enough perfect if you're going to get past this team?
In Champions League, you give something, they take it. That's the quality. You look at the players that they have, the experience that they have, you're going to get punished. And we knew that, but that's part of football as well.
Yeah. What do you need to change then going into the next game? What have you learnt from this fixture?
Well, don't give them anything. That's to start with. You know, if you're going to make life much more difficult, and then the thing is that we control our simple things, do them better, and especially have a big belief that we can go there and win the game.
Focusing on the positives, when you need a big player to step up, Bukayo Saka did that for you early on. A special goal from him.
Absolutely. And the subs as well. The action of Gabi, I think, is tremendous, and the composure again from Leo to put the ball in the back of the net.
Well, Leandro Trossard has scored more goals as a substitute than any other player in the top 5 leagues in Europe. He is a difference maker for you, isn't he?
Absolutely, and the impact of the finish is critical, and today we need them, and they produced a great moment to keep us alive.
So where are the belief levels now then, Mikel, that you can go to Munich and that you can get the job done and make it through?
I have a lot of belief that we can go there and beat them, and we have to prepare really well.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
OK, there you go. Mikel Arteta saying that the moment with Manuel Neuer and Ben White one-on-one was the moment of the match. Do you agree with him, Rio?
It was a big moment, but again, he's not one of the first names you'd be picking up to go into that position and get there for you at this stage of the game. You'd probably want an Odegaard, a Saka type player. And he looked like a fullback in that position. But we've seen him score as well in recent weeks. But it's just at the time you want it to fall to somebody else. This is unfortunate. But this is the way these games go. There's ups and downs, and there's decisions that go for or against you, and you've got to deal with that. But what I would say is that there's enough on show here today for Arsenal to still go into that next game with belief.
That moment there, I understand why he calls it the moment of the match, because it was 16 minutes in, it was at 1-0, so it could have been 2-0. He would have felt in a much more commanding position. But how should he feel overall about this tie and it being a draw heading to Germany next?
I think you've seen the learning experience that you go through. You know, just going back to the goal there, I just think, you know, he needs to be a little bit more composed. And he probably, when he looks back on it, that's what we will see in the future. Jesus coming off the pitch, that experience of the Champions League. This is a competition that you have to kind of learn the hard way. But Arsenal are quick learners. So I think we go into this second game now. I think with nothing lost. I think actually this could turn around, because at any moment we can hurt them. We've seen that. Interested to see if Gnabry is going to be available. Sane going off. As good as Tuchel is as a manager, Sane going off was a massive relief for Arsenal. And let's see what happens in that second leg, because if he's not available, the pace they had in the wide positions was really hurting Arsenal, particularly on the counter-attack. And that's probably Arsenal are just a little bit naive. And what he said, you've got to minimise your mistakes. You cannot give that ball away, because look, they'll go and hurt you and do what they did.
But the mistakes that they made today, or the way that Bayern Munich opened them up, was they were uncharacteristic from Arsenal. This is the Arsenal that we've seen this season, who are top of the league in the Premier League. They've not been forced to play like this. They've not been exposed or opened up and given away opportunities. Yeah, they've been a really tight unit to play against and hard to play against. Today, at times, Bayern Munich sliced through them at will at times, and that was something that I feel would be alarming, but something I feel that they've got to really nip in the bud.
I just think Raya as well, where he suddenly stood next to the centre half, isn't he? He's come running out, and Gabriel's like, okay, probably should have just gone back to him. There was absolutely no problem at all, but all of a sudden it creates a little bit of panic. You can see Bayern capitalise on that, and they can see the team hasn't able to adjust, hasn't conceded a goal for over a month, and then there's two in the back of the net. So I think they kind of come back from that. While Rio, they come back from that very well tonight, didn't they?
But what they found today, which you do see in this Champions League, which is very different to the Premier League, little mistakes get punished. It is such that the margins are so small. The manager said it, Mikel Arteta, in there, that you give them something, they take it. It's so true. So you have to minimise mistakes at this level, otherwise you won't go anywhere.
What does the other manager think? Let's hear from Thomas Tuchel with Jules.
Thomas, you knew this wasn't going to be an easy place to come. What's your feelings on coming away with the draw?
Well, it was tough work. It was a tough game against a very strong opponent, against a fantastic crowd today. Atmosphere was amazing for the home team. So we stepped up after being 1-0 down. It was a very good reaction, and in general, very good team effort. We had the chance to score the third goal and hit the post with Kingsley Coman, and I think the referee did not have the courage today to give a deserved penalty in a bit of a crazy and awkward situation. But he admitted on the pitch that he saw the situation and that a quarter-final is not enough for him to give a hand penalty for a kid's mistake. So he admitted that he knows about the mistake the player made. That's a bit frustrating.
Which incident are you referring to?
He was in a goal kickoff. He was whistling, and goalkeeper passed to a central defender, and I don't know which one was it. He touched the ball with a hand because he thought it's not in game, but it was in game. And referee admitted that it was in game and that it was handball, but it was not worth to whistle a kid's mistake, which is very frustrating for our players and leaves us a bit angry.
Yeah, I can understand that if you were given that explanation. In terms of the rest of the game and how it went, what was the key to getting back into it after Arsenal went ahead so early on?
To keep on working, to keep the distances close. I think before the first goal we lose two duels. We were mentioning that we need to be strong in these one-on-ones and in the little counter movements, so they caught us out there and scored a great goal. We had a bit of luck because of a second chance, then we grew into it. And like always, then we have one good action after a mistake from Arsenal. We have one good action, counter-attack, we score, and then suddenly we feel a bit more freedom and a bit more trust in ourselves after difficult last 10 days for us. And then we were strong in counter-attacks. This is general something we are very strong at after ball wins and also after deep build-up. There's stuff to improve, but we were relentless and we kept on believing, kept on fighting, so good team effort, and everything is open now. The situation is very clear, the winner goes through.
Thanks for your time.
Both managers feeling like they deserved a penalty, and both managers feeling, well, having denied getting a penalty. It makes the second leg very interesting. Let's have a reminder of the goals, and we'll go back to Gnabry's equaliser at 1-1. And this is a moment, really, that the Arsenal defence that you both were saying pre-match, has been so solid so far this season. Martin, what happened here?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first ball that comes in here. Your goalkeeper is miles out of place. So Gabriel's, I think he's disturbed by that. And then he plays it to Kivior, who doesn't really react. Everyone sort of stands. And then it's really good play here from Bayern. Really good movement. And then Arsenal then, look, they just make that run. I think Ben White there, if that's the Lee Dixon, he's letting him run offside. And they just didn't adjust. They didn't react to the danger. Look, give the ball away loosely. And then they go to work on them. Lovely little ball there. Look at the weight of pass there. And then another one here as well. And then all of a sudden Arsenal are undone in just two passes.
It was magnificent, and that's what he was saying there, Tuchel. They make a mistake, but then it's about them punishing that mistake with the quality that they have. We said the front four are as good as anything about when they're on form. They obviously haven't been on form enough this season as a group, but when they do click, they are so dangerous today. And like I said, they made Arsenal feel uncomfortable today, like I've not seen them.
The penalty incident, in the way that they conceded the penalty, was also quite unlike Arsenal this season in defence.
Well, again, I think it's key in those 1v1. I mean, obviously the goalkeeper's taking the mickey. You have to say that they play out very well, so they beat the press. which is not great from an Arsenal point of view. But as soon as in this position, he needs to lock him in here, Kiwior. And he doesn't, he lets him away, Sane. And he's running free. I mean, he is some sight to behold because he's running at you there and we just dive in. I don't think we've been in this position that often, okay? And then everybody then, he goes off his feet and then the two centre-halves, Saliba, look, just dives in here. Right at the end, you'll see, look, he comes in a little bit late and we give away the penalty. There can be no complaints there, but that's got to be better.
Sane was brilliant in that game as well.
Sane was magic. He didn't score. He probably should have scored earlier. It was a great penalty, to be fair. He waited for the keeper to dive. He said in the interview we done that he'd been watching them anyway. But to go back to Leroy Sane, he should have scored. He had a great chance as well earlier in the game. But to go back to the point of Kiwior as a fullback, the ball goes into his wide man. You just got to make him go back where it came. You've not got to overcommit yourself and get too tight. When you get too tight and you're upright like this, it's easy for a smaller, more dynamic player to twist and turn and get away from you.
You can't see the ball, can you?
No,
you have to have that distance away.
Yeah, and we learn from that, which I'm sure he will.
Will they fancy themselves now, Bayern, at their second leg?
Well, I've gone to Bayern Munich before when you go, oh, they're out of form. This ain't the same Bayern Munich team that we know from before. They haven't got the bit between their teeth, and they absolutely surprise you. And you shouldn't be surprised because this club, the credentials they've got in this tournament are there for all to see. It's there in bright lights. When you go to the place, you can smell